Stress is defined as the negative emotional experience accompanied by predictable biochemical, physical, cognitive, and behavioral changes that are directed either toward altering a stressful event or accommodating its effects. The oldest theory of stress is fight or flight and was proposed by Walter Cannon in 1932. Fight or flight theory states that when an organism perceives threat, the body is aroused via the sympathetic and nervous systems. The organism can either enter fight or flight. Fight is an aggressive response to a threat. Flight, for animals this may mean running away, but for humans it may include social withdrawal or escaping via alcohol and drugs. More recently, Shelley Taylor and colleagues proposed the tend and befriend model, because not all stress responses lead to fighting or fleeing. Females especially are likely to seek out others for support. Humans respond to stress with affiliation and nurturant behaviors. This response may depend on underlying biological mechanisms, including the hormone oxytocin. Oxytocin is a stress hormone rapidly released in response to some stressful event, and its effects are influenced by estrogen. In both animals and humans, oxytocin increases affiliative behavior of all kinds, especially maternal bonding and social relationships. Cellier's work on stress began accidentally. In studying sex hormones, he found that injections of extracts of ovary tissue into animals caused an unexplainable triad of responses: enlargement of adrenal glands, shrinkage of the thymus, and bleeding ulcers in digestive system. Then he found that extracts of other organs, as well as substances not derived from bodily tissue, caused this same response. Each time he applied something painful or harmful, a universal triad of stress effects followed. He referred to them as nonspecific because they appeared to be caused by any noxious aversive event. Cellier believed stress was a specific syndrome. It followed certain patterns and affected specific organs, but that it was non-specifically induced. Cellier proposed the general adaptation syndrome, which consists of 3 stages. Alarm. The body is made ready to respond to the stressor. The strength of alarm reaction depends on the degree to which the event is perceived as a threat. Resistance. Applying coping mechanisms, resisting the stressor. Exhaustion. Adaptive reserves are depleted by long-term or repeated conflict with stressors. The above models have been criticized because they fail to take into account cognitive factors, instead focusing exclusively on the physiological. The importance of psychological appraisal can be seen in the transactional model of stress. Stress as a transaction, also known as the relational model, states that one cannot fully understand stress by examining environmental events and people as separate entities. Rather, they need to be considered together as a transaction. The process of stress is triggered whenever stressors exceed personal and social resources a given person is able to mobilize in order to cope. There are 3 kinds of appraisals: primary, secondary, and reappraisal. Primary appraisal: what is at stake? Either a harm, threat, or challenge. Secondary appraisal: what is my ability to handle it? Specifically, what options are available to me? What is the likelihood that I can successfully apply the necessary strategies to reduce stress? Will this procedure work? Reappraisal: feedback from new information or ongoing coping efforts is used to check on accuracy of both primary and secondary appraisal. Let's consider a classic study where college students watched gruesome film depicting shop accidents, metal worker being impaled by a plank driven through his abdomen, conducted by Coriat around 1972. Subjects were assigned to one of 3 conditions. Before viewing, they were either told events were staged, no one was hurt, but would be helpful to improve safety. Told events were real, but told film would improve worker safety. Or not given any explanation. Both sets of explanations were effective in reducing arousal during film. Those not giving any explanation were more stressed. Stress is not a property of film itself. Individual differences in stress reactivity affect the degree of change that occurs in the autonomic, neuroendocrine, and/or immune responses as a result of stress. Differences may be genetic or may develop early in life. These differences can affect vulnerability to illness.